Why? I find it interesting that obviously you know a lot about the aircraft and also a lot about it's an Air New Zealand aircraft. Being Australian, how have you got to know so much about it?
I've always been in touch with aviation because my dad works for Qantas, and I've been travelling since I was like 1, and I've just literally been, in love with aviation forever, pretty much.
What about you?
Personally, I've always had a love for aviation ever since I can remember. I've always been flying around. My dad used to live overseas for work, so I was always flying over there.
What do you think of the Air New Zealand experience?
Fantastic. They do it really
I think
well.
they're better than Qantas.
Ooh, I'll keep that sound.
Dad won't like that.
This is more a New Zealand thing as well as Air New Zealand. Kiwi hospitality is fantastic.
Country's just amazing.
Just so great. Everyone is so nice. Happy to share this with you and have a smile.
Just tell us the 737, its reputation, its history for Air New Zealand.
Significant history for New Zealand and Air New Zealand and New Zealand aviation. 47 years since the aeroplane came into service with us in 1968. Got swapped out beginning in 98 to the 737-300, which saw its last flight here today in this flight NZ 556 down to Christchurch. So, yeah, significant moment and a poignant one too. But sad for a number of us who have both flown the aeroplane or operated it, worked on it. But it's time to move on, and this today was the day for the 737.
I was just commenting before that in the 737 you feel like you're flying a lot more than in modern aircraft because they're a lot more computer controlled.
Yes.
Is it the case that the 737 is just old technology?
Well, it is a technology from a different era, and that's reflected in newer aircraft which have fly-by-wire. This still has hydromechanical controls. The pilot does feel what is going on out there, and but it's this beautiful aeroplane to fly. Great design. For something that's been around for 47 years and largely is unchanged. Some things features have changed significantly, but it is an aeroplane that it is a pilot's aeroplane. It's a beautiful aeroplane to fly. It looks good in the air too. So
I like how steep it takes off as well.
yeah. No, it's got a bit of get up and go. Great, what we call power to weight ratio. So it's nice.
And finally, also, it's been quite amazing to see how many people have booked on this flight and have all got stories about the 737, and even people that didn't know about it, they were quite reminiscent. What do you think it says about the aircraft?
So my first flight in a jet was on a 737, and I reckon there's a lot of people in New Zealand whose first either flight or flight in a jet was on a 737. This is ubiquitous for jet travel in New Zealand, and I think that was the issue. And of course, there was a number of Air New Zealanders and their families who specifically came to Auckland or started in Auckland to fly on this flight today. So, and of course, there's aviation still, or flying, notwithstanding it's become rather commoditised now in some ways, it's still quite interesting to a lot of people, and people are passionate about it. Air travel's a significant part of New Zealand's culture, and that was reflected today in the number of people who obviously joined this flight and then enjoyed themselves on the way down. It was great.